Hey y'all, it's your boy Aureilleus. It's another episode. Thanks for coming back. It's the 5th episode of the Tryin Times Podcast. I really appreciate you if you're coming back. Thanks. If it's your first time, thanks. Stick around for a little while. You might get inspired. You might get mad. You might just grow a little bit today, because today is a little bit on growth mindset. That's the beginning. We're going to do a little bit in the beginning on the Tryin Times section where we focus on sort of leadership, getting better, some wisdom and understanding there. We're going to highlight 4 people in the power of 4, people I know that inspired me this week. And then we'll take a quick break and go into NBA, highlight that Final Four. Got some quick thoughts there. And then we're going to do some NFL. As you can see, I switched sports. We're going to do a way too early rookie over prediction. Reg's over prediction rookies. NFL, that is. And then Storm of Fists. We're going to wrap it up because we got 2 big trilogies coming up in July, so we're going to do a way too early prediction on those. And also, low-key, BKFC Bareknuckle Fighting Championship. It's coming up. People are going to get on it, so we're getting on that. BKFC18 is live tonight. It's only $5.99. We're going to highlight the fight card, top 5 fight card there. And then we're going to get the fuck out of here. So stick around. Appreciate everybody. Remember, you can read the blog at thetryintimes.com. No G, thetryintimes.com. Also, Bill's stuff will be coming soon. BlueMafia.com. Also, I'll be probably doing, a season preview there, maybe some camp stuff, season prediction, rookie predictions. We'll get into some of that as we get closer to August and end of July. But thanks for sticking around. We'll be right back with the intro, the Tryin Times. Thanks for listening. Alright guys, so thanks again for listening. The Tryin Times dedicated to sort of leadership, being better, overcoming adversity, reinventing yourself, sort of just climbing the ladder of life, getting out of the dark. If it's not your first time, I'm sure I'm repeating myself, but the Tryin Times is just dedicated to all that stuff. And this opening portion of each Tryin Times episode, at least for now, is going to be kind of that section. So if you don't want to get into this stuff, you can fast forward to the NBA and or NFL rookie stuff and or my Storm of Fist section. Just go to the bottom and skip along. But yeah, this part's kind of dedicated to just people around me and people on the screens that I feel are just doing an awesome job of being leaders, being people that essentially stand up, do the right thing, are always guiding the next group of people along and stepping up for themselves, their families, and other people. And obviously the Buffalo Bills here in Buffalo, Western New York, are sort of a lighthouse of where the city stands. If the Bills are doing really bad, the city's not doing very good. If they're doing very good, the city is thriving. And the city of Buffalo has been thriving for a while. And 2 big guys that have come into the city, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, they are definitely inspirations to me and just about anybody in the city. But it goes kind of beyond football for me. I do love football, and we'll talk about the NFL later in the episode. But I do have a respect for leaders, and there's a definite science to leadership, and that's kind of where we just kind of break some of this stuff down and highlight who we feel are doing a good job. And hopefully someday we're going to have some people on as guests. I keep repeating myself, but I'm going to matrix that shit into reality. But I recently was offered an invitation to come to an event at one of the local religious centers, I guess you'll say. It was a sort of a church atmosphere, but it was an event dedicated to younger adults, really. I was one of the older people, but my close friend, Bry, he invited me, and it was definitely interesting to hear Sean McDermott speak in that setting. He did an awesome job. He had a little bit of coach corny humor, as per usual with coaches who are, really good people. They always have some corny jokes. But he talked a lot about growth mindset, and I figured I'd pass a little bit of that along for you guys and gals out there. But the growth mindset was essentially just always getting better and trying to always stay improving. And I found that to be interesting because that's a big part of what this podcast represents, is staying out of the dark stuff and keeping yourself in a state of mind where you're trying to get better and trying to help others and trying to help yourself. So that was a big part of what he talked about. Another part, be still for I am God, is what I wrote down, but it's paraphrase of a section he talked his own. I won't kind of speak for him, but what I took out of it was often I sort of feel like I need to control everything, make sure everything is in order, sort of be the leader. In my head, it seems like a good idea always, but I'm sure sometimes it could seem as if I'm getting in the way of people or over talking them, or, just sort of not being as productive as I could be. And one thing I've tried to do more recently, especially since the pandemic, when the Tryin Times began, is sort of letting the Lord do your dirty work for you. And that's not exactly what Sean McDermott was saying when he was talking about his section here, but I took it as just understanding that there's something bigger than you, and regardless of what religion you are or spirituality you believe in, you should pretty much understand by now that there's some things, some forces there, good and bad, up and down, dark and light, in terms of spirit, good and bad, God and devil, whatever you want to call it, positive, negative. And then there's a balance in between the two, and the absence of one is kind of like the other, but there's always a flex, and balancing that is difficult. But understanding that there is forces greater than you that sort of are looking out for you is a big part of what's helped me get into a better mental space. And then accountability was one thing that I definitely could get down with, that Sean McDermott spoke of during this session. And he was very adamant about just like being willing to tell the truth and surrounding yourself with people that are willing to tell you the truth. Not only surrounding yourself with people that do tell the truth, but people that will tell you the truth, whether it's about yourself or those around you or things you're doing or things you're saying or things, that's a big part of success, is having people around you that will tell you the truth. And that was kind of three things: growth mindset, be still for I am God, and accountability. Be surrounded by people that are willing to tell you the truth. And then one other last thing, don't force anyone to believe anything here, but I do pray regularly, and I find that some people may not think praying helps, or maybe think it's childish, or don't feel it's going anywhere. I guess there seems to be sort of ways you can do it where you're not asking selfishly for something directly, but asking for simple things. And two things that McDermott mentioned was wisdom and understanding. Why not just ask for that? If you feel childish asking for a new car or a new job, why not just at least ask for wisdom and understanding? Is that not, you shouldn't feel too badly to ask for that. So that's a little bit of the stuff I've seen and heard from another leader. I'm not saying I'm a expert, but these are all paraphrases from Sean McDermott. So read into his stuff yourself. But we're always going to just try to highlight someone or a few people on off the field that are being leaders in ways that are beyond what you see on television. The Boston Celtics' new head coach, he was recently someone I was listening to, I think Ryan Russillo, I think it was Bill Simmons, as I quote him quite a bit on this podcast. He was speaking with, I believe, Jackie McMullen, and they were talking about the new Celtics head coach, and they were just speaking about how he's not a self-promoter, and I found that to be really cool because what they were saying was essentially he doesn't seek to just make himself look good when the camera is on him. And he's not going to just, as the cameras walk into the room, start overcoaching and trying to make himself look good in front of the cameras for other people. Ime Udoka. I'm still trying to get his name down. I'm a huge Celtics fan myself, but I don't have a whole lot of tape, so to speak, on him. But all I can see is that he was incredibly smart, and he looks like a really, really sharp, kind of clean-cut mind. Like, he seems like he's got his stuff together. Apparently Tatum and Brown got along well with him, and he adds diversity, which is necessary, and everyone knew it in Boston. So that's great. It's cool to see that. Also heard that they might still get Darvin Ham or Sam Cassell as an assistant, which would be awesome. But the power of four. So 4 people that I know, I'm going to sort of paraphrase their names or give what is at least public. It's kind of like a little free advertisement for just people doing good out there. So firstly, my boy J-Rock, he knows who he is, but I was just really impressed with the way that he was able to sort of let his guard down recently, because him and I always, we've been really close friends for a long time, and he was doing some work on his resume, and we were able to have healthy conversation and communication, and I helped him a little bit with a couple things, but we were able to connect on a lot of stuff that I just think was really positive, and we have had quite a bit of closeness, but like cracked communications at times where we can't really communicate too well. But I'm also proud that he's just looking into his resume and looking to grow, and I was also impressed with his resume. He had a lot of management experience. So keep it up, J-Rock. And then secondly, Nolder Farms. You can Google it, but former teammate of mine, also another one that was always a very good, loyal friend to me. Another former serviceman. He has a horse farm, and it's out in the country at the end of the 400. I can't remember which small town it is in, but that's just really cool. It looks impressive, huge stables, and I don't know all the horse terminology, but it is cool to see that he is sort of giving back to not only himself and his family crest, but animals, and then he's giving a place for people to sort of keep and store their animals and have them have a good place to be. But another awesome guy, awesome leader. Proud of him. Keep up the good work there. And then player K, number 3. out of the Power Four. No, not really a ranking here, just the Power Four. Shout out Colin. Player K, look him up. Rapper, another former teammate. One of the funniest kids I probably ever met. Just real charisma, real star power. I mean, every time this kid would walk into a room, he would make somebody smile or laugh or feel good about themselves. And he wasn't soft either. He would fuck somebody up if he had to. Real kid, real guy. And just cool to see him thriving. And I was seeing him in some just really unique places. You check him out on Instagram, but the music's cool. He's cool. Great kid. Keep it up. And then number 4, my boy Jael. He recently was offered a new opportunity. We worked together for, I think, a year and a half. But I'm just really proud to see him. He's from another place. He came all the way to Buffalo from Puerto Rico, and he's already sort of cemented himself in the community, and he's got himself a house, and him and his now wife are doing a good job, and he got offered a new job, and just really proud to see that kid get ahead because he knows I've told him I'm impressed with his tenacity and his ways of, just getting somewhere and getting ahead. But those four guys there, man, J-Rock, Nolder, Player K, and Jael Rivera Illustrates Instagram handle. Check him out. He's going to be an animator also. Not only did he get a new job, which I'm happy for him, but check out his Instagram socials. That's Jael Rivera Illustrates. And he is a terrific animator. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else he can do. I'm sure we're going to have probably him on the pod someday at least. But those 4, it's the Power 4. Good job, guys. Keep it up. And we're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to flip it over to the Final 4 in the NBA. And then we'll do those rookies in the NFL. And then we'll break down some Storm affairs. Thanks. We'll be right back. All right, y'all, we're back with the NBA. Like I said, I fucking love this playoff. I can't get enough of it. It's physical. There's fight. There's stars that aren't even in it. They've gotten knocked out. But I absolutely love this NBA playoffs. Now, Trae Young went from being possibly in the top 5 of all time to all of a sudden over. Giannis in the Bucks took the little boy Trae and put him over his knee, and he gave him a wallop, and he gave him a backhand, and then he gave him the belt, and then he threw him out in the snow pile in Milwaukee. So they're going to be going back to Atlanta 1-1, and we'll see what happens there because you'd like to think that Trae Young's going to respond with a little bit of tenacity. You'd like to think that he's going to respond with some fight, some grit. You have to be a little disappointed in how the Hawks responded in Game 2. You also have to think that the Bucks must have been a little bit tuckered out from all of the Nets fight. But the Hawks just took the 7-game series with the Sixers, and that was no cakewalk. 1-1 in the East, going back to Atlanta. You like to think the Bucks think they can split there, but if they go down 3-1, it's going to be tough. When the Hawks make their threes, they're just as much trouble as what the Bucks were able to do with their threes the other night. That's going to be an interesting series, though. I just really think it's an awesome year for the playoffs. I've really enjoyed the physicality. I've enjoyed the fight. I've enjoyed Trae Young getting in the faces of just about anybody who wants it. I've even loved seeing Giannis fight finally, and I've enjoyed seeing guys leave it all on the floor from a wind standpoint and just leaving their complete effort and energy as their legacy on the floor. You don't really see, it's kind of Kobe was the Mamba, and, Pierce had it. Some of these guys, Dirk at the end of his career, Ray Allen, Tony Parker, that is, Ginobili, Reggie Miller. Some of these just guys that almost step up every year and have fight that they're going to fight. Those guys don't seem to be, it almost seemed like those were a dying breed for a little while, but it is awesome to see this new influx of young talent who are not afraid to fight. But switching over to the West, it's like Gladiator over there with Pat Beverly. He's sort of like Marcus Aurelius fighting through his career from place to place throughout Coliseum to arena to Coliseum. And now he's Kawhi's up in the booth with his family sitting. Don't know if he's going to come back or if he's really hurt, and that's why. But Pat Beverly, he does look like his breath probably stinks all the time. He has hurt several people with over-aggressive, borderline, and absolutely dirty play at times. But you got to hand it to him, man. Wouldn't you want him on your team? I would. I definitely would not want him on my team. As to say I wouldn't want to play against him. He's hit several huge threes throughout the playoffs in timely moments where it's like it almost does seem like he doesn't shoot as much as he probably could, which is another understated valuable player aspect, in my opinion. But Pat Beverly unfortunately snapped Booker's nose off of his skull. So now Booker's got to wear the Phantom. So you got CP3 coming back from sitting on his couch with his kids, watching out for fucking State Farm commercials, tripping out in his apartment because he's probably in his little guest house or something on quarantine. And then you got Beverly, clean sweep of the pickaxe with his skull across Booker's face, smearing his nose. And Booker, he's tough. He's a good player. But that shit will throw off your equilibrium. We'll get into some Storm of Fists and some BKFC later. I mean, that thing looked like a fucking bare-knuckle boxing gruesome injury. Good luck playing with that. That's going to be sore in the morning. Fuck. Beverly. Savage. But he's stepped up. Playoff P. He's kind of like the corny older guy at the gym, but I still like him. I watched him snap that leg years back with my homies at the crib. B-Law and Joel, previously mentioned. We watched it. It was gruesome. He's never been the same. People don't talk about it. Hey, give the guy a break. His leg snapped off. People don't respect these athletes. Ricky Waters, we're rocking some football gear here because we're going to talk a little bit of football today. Football! We've got a list of rookies here that I'm going to quickly summarize. That was the NBA. Stay tuned. We got good series, but it's physical, it's fun, and so is football, and that's my favorite sport. So we're going to give you some way too early rookie predictions as my favorite show, Good Morning Football, has disappeared a couple times. Hopefully there's not any contractual problems there and they're just on vacation enjoying themselves. But this is going to be Reg's rookies. Rookies to watch. I've got almost everybody in one position. These are at least guys I've seen play. I didn't do any full-on film study yet. That's something that I'm going to probably do some more of as we get into the season, breaking down some film, and I'm going to use hopefully some of my connections who know more than me about football to help me with that. But we're going to just go through some of the players that I think are going to make a difference immediately based on sort of where they went and who they are. And there'll be some names on here that you know, but maybe one or two that you won't think of yet, and maybe it'll help you out in your fantasy draft. I don't know. Oh, also cool news in the NFL front. 2022. That was really the reason why I wore this Ricky Watters Seattle Seahawks silver helmets jersey. Throwback helmets, baby. Let's fucking go. I can't wait to see the red helmets on the Bills, silver helmets on the Seahawks. Imagine DK Metcalf with those throwbacks. Also, the Eagles in all white. Check out that Bubby Brister pic I just shared on Instagram not too long ago. That's going to be sick. But yeah, throwback helmets are back. So here you go. I'm going to just run through these, and I'm going to run through them backwards, a.k.a. defense first, because you know I love offense, but I'm going to start watching some more defense. We're going to start with two hometown boys, all right? I really do feel they were great picks, and Boogie Basham, I'm really looking forward to seeing how his game translates because he looks like he's got a really high motor. He looks like he's crazy, and he looks like he loves to do one thing, and that's rush the passer. Also, Greg Rousseau, another Buffalo Bill. I know there's only one more Buffalo Bill on here, but he is a monster, and I'm looking forward to seeing when I saw him get drafted for my Bills. I was actually more than impressed with just his overall attitude, his glamorous smile. Even though he's got some braces, he's got just a terrific smile, and he just seems like a really kind-hearted guy, but he also seems like a guy who will get fucking down and dirty and fight for his teammates, and he's a monster. He's huge. So I think both of those guys in our division with all these young quarterbacks, we're going to be fucking running and gunning. People are going to be trying to pass on us. Those two guys are going to be making a difference immediately on third downs, passing downs, things like that, screen games, pick sixes. They're just going to get to do one thing and go have fun and fucking chase shit. And that's awesome because that's what those guys are born to do in the game of football, that is. Obviously born to be leaders. And then we have the Parsons kid from Penn State. He's obviously very, very fast. Fast linebackers in this league are going to be the future, obviously, with all the passing and wide run game and just speed generally, and also lack of hitting. So these linebackers are all going to be, and it was interesting looking at some of the prospects. There's not a lot in college that are like those big Mikes, those big Mike guys that you just know their names, the Ray Lewis, the Urlachers, even though Urlacher was sort of a safety in college. But the Owosu Koromora, he is also sick. Notre Dame, I believe. Owosu Koromoa, Surratt, and then Cox. All four of those guys definitely going to make differences as they get into the league. And then just Asante Samuel Jr., he went to the Chargers. I think he just makes an immediate difference there. And then two safeties, Javon Holland and Divine Diablo. I did not forget that name. Virginia Tech, and Holland out of Oregon. And then we got a safety, Hamlin, who went to Pitt, who I'm excited about. He makes the list because he's a hometown. But a couple of bold predictions as we flip over to offense, I was really excited to see the Vikings make a pick in the third round when they decided to pick Kellen Mond, the quarterback out of Texas A&M. He's not your prototypical, but he's a fighter, and I think he's somebody that's going to fight to get better and better and not stop working. And I think that that's a perfect spot for him because he gets to walk in and kind of follow this cornbread-ass fucking Kirk Cousins act, and he can walk right in, and he's going to look very good to everybody very quickly. So if he can learn anything and establish a relationship with Cousins that's positive so that Cousins can swiftly become his backup, Mond, I think, can swing into a starting role. Also, I'm going to make a real bold prediction here because Tom Brady's running his fucking mouth. Respect. But he's gotten pretty cocky, and I have a feeling these players around the league are sick of his act, and I think they're going to be really sick of the Buccaneers act. So I'm going to make a bold prediction that a backup and or Kyle Trask start for the Buccaneers at least 3 games in the regular season. Games that matter, because I don't think Tom Brady's lasting the season. I think he's going to get hurt, and I don't think this league is prepared to watch him win another Super Bowl, and I think they're sick of that team all coming back, 22 starters back. I think Kyle Trask plays for them this year. And then those are little side. And then a little side note, shout out Ian Book, Tryin Times special. Watch him become the next starter for the Saints. Maybe not this year, maybe not the next year, but watch him slowly slide into an opportunity, hopefully with the Saints and Sean Payton, because what a perfect fit for the kid. Undersized, prototypical passer, Drew Brees-esque all the way. He even has, I think, a fucking birthmark like Drew Brees on his face. Great warrior, great player. Love that kid. But, man, Justin Fields looks good in a Bears uniform. Holy shit. Did Allen Robinson get traded? I'm going to have to look that up while we go here. But Justin Fields is, I think, going to be a star. And I could be wrong. And I don't usually say this about Ohio State quarterbacks because I find them to be system guys that throw a lot of screens and throw a lot of routes that they're not really doing too much. Quick reads, things like that, timing, RPOs. But I really like the kid. I like his attitude. I like his size. I watched him battle Clemson. I watched him battle several times in big games where you think he's about to kind of poo-poo out of the game, and he steps up. And I really think that kid's going to be a star. So Chicago Bears, Allen Robinson re-signed to possibly playing NFL season on 1-year deal. So you got to think that Allen Robinson is like, this Fields kid has got to be pretty good. But I think that Fields is going to end up starting over Dalton. Either Dalton's going to get his head mashed into the turf, or Fields plays by the time it gets cold in Chicago. And then I didn't put Lawrence on here. Everybody knows about Lawrence. He's going to do well. But one reason why Trevor Lawrence is going to do well is because Travis Etienne. And Travis Etienne looks fabulous in that Jaguars uniform. Man, did that team go from kind of like slutty, wet, fucking Florida chick that just got arrested with no pants on to, man, this girl is got her stuff together. She goes to church and listens to gospel, and she also loves football, and she could make taco salad. That's like the program now with Urban Meyer running the show. All of a sudden, they got a quarterback, they got a running back. I love DJ Chark. Last year, you know, he kind of fizzled out towards the end of the year, but I love that DJ Chark kid. If their defense can do anything, look out. That team can make a little bit of noise. But Travis Etienne is going to be probably playing some receiver, and I bet you he'll have about 100 catches this year. That kid's good. Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow. Man, Joe Burrow is one lucky motherfucker. I don't know what deal he sold, but he got to go play with those studs at LSU, tore it up, broke every record, comes right in, starts tearing it up in the league, tears his knee, gets T. Higgins. Now he's got Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase, he's going to do some damage. Devontae Smith, low-key, Eagles, Jalen Hurts, or Joe Flacco. Is Flacco there? I don't know if he's there. He might not be anymore, but I think he is. And at least Jalen Hurts is, and he's not afraid to throw it deep. And that Devontae Smith, though I do think he's made of glass because I watched him shatter his hand, and also I feel like he's going to get hurt easily, but before he does, he's going to catch a lot of touchdowns. And also the Toney kid, Darius Toney. Watch out for that kid, man. He's the type of one, everyone talks about Waddle and how fast he is. Waddle looks fast, and he looks like a football player. He looks good. But that Toney kid, he's the weird speed one. He's the jackrabbit. He's the Florida feet, you know, like I watched a special years back on this one area in South Florida where they chase those jackrabbits as like from little kids, and then it becomes almost like a football training thing, and they chase these rabbits through these fields, and they're so fast. But that Toney kid played at Florida, and that's the type of player that Tyreek Hill is, and I could see Toney becoming a nice little player for Danny Dimes there in the Giants, and Danny Dimes will have a little bit of pressure taken off him now that the BYU kid is in the big city also, who I do think is going to do okay, but Zach Wilson there, he doesn't make my list, but I think he's going to do all right. I don't know if the players are going to respect him. It'll be a matter of if they take him out or if they land on him softly. Freiermuth, Penn State, tight end, Steelers. I got to think that Big Ben stuck around because he knows he's got, come on. Come on, Big Ben. The Bills literally put Big Ben into a fucking coffin last year out at one Bills drive. But he's coming back for one last year. Also, Dwayne Haskins, sneaky. He could come in and play very well. Watch out. But Ben Roethlisberger, he's coming back for one more year. And watch Freiermuth. He is a monster. And that's about it. Those are my rookies, Reg's rookies. We're going to take one last break. And we're going to come back with Storm of Fists. I'm going to break down the 2 trilogies in July. And then we're going to just do a quick pick'em of the BKFC18. Thanks for listening, guys. It's almost football season. Let's go. Storm of Fists. Storm of Fists. You ever been in a storm, Wally? Storm of Fists. Raining down on your skull. So what am I talking about, this trilogy talk? If you don't know, get ready. Because we got 2 trilogies. Yeah. What am I talking? Fucking Connor versus Dustin. Part 3. McGregor, Poirier, UFC. And then, in boxing, you got the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, versus Deontay Wilder. Part 3. What more could you ask for? It's like, these are 2 of the best fights that I can remember. And the fact that they're like almost back-to-back has me looking forward to it very much. We'll just say that. But way too early predictions. We're going to just break them both down. Both are unpredictable. Both feature 4 guys that have knockout power that can take just about anybody on the planet out. But Poirier versus McGregor, a couple things. I did hear that McGregor said that he was going to sort of separate himself from the wife and kids for this one because he's trying to maintain a warrior mindset and all this stuff. We'll see what the fuck difference that makes. But he is one that is a very mental fighter. And last fight, I thought he looked real skinny and old, which was a little weird to see. But Poirier has gotten better as his life has evolved. And it's clear that he's committed and healthy. And you don't think that he's been drinking whiskey for 10 years straight, you know. Whereas McGregor does still, as amazing shape as he maintains, he does look like a drunk sometimes, which is, I mean, he's Irish. But Poirier looks clean and healthy. He looks like he's always ready, and he's got a hell of a chin. Poirier has got a hell of a chin. That will be, as we know, McGregor struggles when people take him down in the water, so to speak, and make him go deep into rounds and get on top of him, make him tired, which Poirier is good at, but Poirier is good at boxing too. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Conor comes in very sharp. I think he lands early and often. I think Poirier gets hurt, but I still think that Poirier's chin is too tough, and unless McGregor comes at him with like a 3-hitter that hits him sort of like he got Eddie Alvarez with the 1, 2, 3, where they catch him and they're already practically going down, and then they catch him again and just fucking kill him. That's about the only way he's going to get Poirier out of there. I just think Poirier outlasts him if it goes too deep. But who knows? McGregor could come back with a completely different mindset. I saw him switching his stance and doing this karate stance. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd be switching that shit up at this point in your career, bro. But hey, maybe if it switches things up and it allows him to get some new attack that sneaks in a different way that's not on tape, maybe that's how he ends it. But that's going to be awesome. And then we have Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, which I was just talking about here on the Tryin Times. But originally, Fury was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua. I'm done talking about Anthony Joshua, at least for a while, because that guy is annoying, just in the sense that every time you hear about it, it's something to do with him not fighting or him not doing this or him not doing that. And I like guys that just fight. Like we're going to talk about it, the BKFC18 later, right after this. But Fury versus Wilder. Last match, Wilder got popped, and it looked odd. It looked like he was just taking bricks to the face, not only just big hits and multiple hits, but it looked like he took a fucking cinder block to the mouth. And he had this look in his eye the whole fight after taking a couple of them, like, what the fuck is hitting me? And Fury is amazing. Don't get me wrong. The Gypsy King, he reminds me of the movie Snatch. Degs. Like, literally just gypsy fights. Literally Gypsy King. He's big. He's long. He's got timing. He's got rhythm. He's smart. He's a warrior. He's a leader. He's overcome adversity. So he's been in the dark and he's been out of the dark. And he talked about that in some press conferences about he sort of attacked Wilder's mental health, but it was an odd dig. It was almost like after this, we're going to be friends. I could totally see them earning a lot of respect this fight. I think this last one's going to be a real man-to-man. I think that the potential of Fury having done something weird to his gloves isn't completely out of the question to me. He's weird. I say throw him in the BKFC. But I'm torn because as much as I think that I think Fury is bigger, stronger, Wilder's faster, and wilder, literally. I think he's got the ability to catch Fury, and again, one of those 1-2s where if he gets him once, it's going to stagger him, but if he gets him the second time, it's going to really stun him, and if he gets him the third time, he's going down. But Fury's ready to go about 100 rounds. Wilder, probably much better athlete, but when it comes to wind in boxing, you got to maybe give it to Fury because he has more weight and his weight distribution can come behind from the ass, and he can throw with a little bit more punch, a little bit more power, whereas Wilder, as we've talked about, has got a thin lower body, and he's got that big sweeping right, but he doesn't have a lot of torque behind his little punches, so some of those inner shots don't seem to bother Fury too much. Even though he's soft inside, I'd go for his body if I was 6'5" and a heavyweight boxer, but I'd try and hit Tyson in his ribs and his liver, soften him up. It's about the only way I think that you're going to get him to not come at you with the cinder blocks. But I think unless Wilder knocks him out, I think Fury finishes that. Probably maybe goes to decision, but I think maybe that one goes all the way, and I think Fury outduels him just because he's got more in the mind and in the tank. It will be interesting, though, lastly, to see Wilder's entrance, because last time he did fault himself for wearing the heavy robot suit, or the heavy, crazy, sort of Black Panther-looking superhero suit. He said that thing weighed so much, and that 15-minute walk out there was like he had done a whole workout. So we'll stay tuned on the entrances. But here we go. BKFC, let's fucking go. We got 5 fights here. And I did want to say BKFC deserves more attention. It's scary. It is blood. And it's a little bit darker than UFC because it's cracking bone on bone, knuckles to skull. So put the kids to bed before you watch the BKFC. But a couple of them here, I did sign up for BKFC TV, the app. You can watch all the fights on there. Also, Gamebred Masvidal, Gamebred FC is on there. It's only $5.99 a month right now. So rather than paying $80 for these Jake Paul boxing matches, you could watch 5 dirty, grimy, bare-knuckle guys just fucking hammering each other. And this literally 4 belts. 1, 2, 3, 4 belts tonight. Fucking let's go. I'm going to just go through them real quick. The video probably won't be out tonight, but I did a little bit of research, so I'll pick them real quick. There was 2 chicks, Pearl Gonzalez and Carissa Sigala. They're fighting at 135. I don't know anything about them. The Pearl girl came out in this like little belly dancer type outfit. They both look like they have like fake boobs, almost like 90s porno. So who knows if they could fight? Maybe it's just to try and sell more pay-per-views, but we'll see. I'm not even going to pick that one because they look like ring girls from 20 years ago. So no disrespect to them, but I don't know what's going to happen there because I didn't watch any of the info on them. But it's going to be interesting no matter what. Pearl and Carissa, I'm sure they're going to fucking hammer it out if they put them up there with these other guys. We'll just go with Carissa because Pearl came out in the belly dance stuff. She's not going to be as focused. But then we have Ulysses Diaz versus Thiago Alves. And this one is at 185. Thiago Alves, Brazilian, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida. He's, I believe, American top team. He's a trainer for UFC. He's fought in UFC, I believe, Thiago Alves. I'm sure somebody out there is like, yeah, fuck this asshole. He's Thiago Alves. But he's a lifer. He's a trainer. He trains some of the best fighters in American top team, and it's obvious that he knows what he's doing. But that'll be interesting. He's fighting this guy, Ulysses Diaz. And if you've ever heard of Pitbull, then you may or may not have seen Ulysses Diaz. Longtime friend. I watched the bio stuff. they were talking about how he was saying how he went in two different directions, him and Pitbull. They had pictures of them right next to each other. One of them was like most popular, and one of them was most talented. Pitbull was most talented, and this Ulysses Diaz, who is dating a WWE female. This Ulysses Diaz took the bad road, skipped school, and they took him right back on this BKTV app. They took him right back to his old house where he lived with Pitbull and his mom, and that was really cool. So I'm rooting for this Ulysses Diaz. I'm picking him. He's got cool hair. He looks kind of like the dude from Apocalypto, but he's also out of Miami, and I'm picking him, Ulysses Diaz. This one is Luis Palomino versus Tyler Goodjohn, and Goodjohn talks like Bronson, and he's from Ely, England, and he sounds exactly like Bronson from the movie Bronson. I'm Charlie Bronson, and all my life I've wanted to be famous. You fucking God. But Tyler Goodjohn, he looks like a Viking. He's got the top braided, but bearded, tatted everywhere. He looks like kind of like rustic model kind of guy, but he definitely can fight. I guess he's big in the UK in Bareknuckle, and his competitor is the champ, Luis Palomino, and he's also just a really impressive fighter, a little bit older, but he's fighting out of Miami, and he wants to hurt this young pretty boy. He wants to not only knock him out, but he said if he clips him early, that's going to be disappointing because he wants to piece him up. And that's the champ at 155. And then Joe Ruggs versus Hector Lombard. Lombard fighting out of Miami, Riggs out of Phoenix. Riggs just looks like that crazy white guy in prison with some weird tattoos. And then Hector Lombard looks very scary. They both are big. Lombard didn't take his shirt off for the weigh-in, which was interesting. But they're fighting at about 205. And that, I believe, is the first belt at that weight that they're ever going to have. Cruiserweight, I believe. This is only the 18th event, and Bareknuckle FC, BKFC, it's going to catch on. And then the big boys fighting at 265. Sam Shoemaker versus Joey Beltran. And another one where it's like War of Two Worlds, but same kind of warrior. A couple guys that both fight for everything and scrap for everything they've ever gotten. But two big boys. Shoemaker had a real highlight reel knockout, and Beltran is sort of, he said, kind of, he's not fighting for his life, but he did say he had some things happen to him that his life wasn't going in the right direction, and he moved back to Miami and started training, and he's living right across the street from the gym. And hearing all these guys' stories, it's just cool to see. Fighters are fighters. They really are fighters. They're not only fighting in the ring, but they fight for everything. And it's almost like fighters only become a fighter if they're someone who fought for everything. And, you know, that Pearl Gonzalez and Carissa Segala, they fought for everything too. I should probably watch their feature before I watch the fight, because I'm sure their stories are just as amazing as these other guys. But it is a little scary to watch the chicks knock their faces up. You just feel a little bit worse. But yeah, the BKFC, check it out tonight. We're going to get this audio up. This is the 5th episode of the Tryin Times. We're going to add the chapter notes in the video, so when we get that up... Oh, I didn't pick those ones. Real quick, we're going to go with Shoemaker, because he's a little bit younger. Beltran's a little too old, I think. He's got to have a soft melon by now. And then Lombard versus Riggs. Even though Riggs looks crazier, Lombard looked more focused. But I think I might have to go with Riggs because of the crazy eyes. I think I got to pick Palomino. over Good John, even though I'm kind of rooting for the young buck, because Good John was another one that was talking about how he lost his business, which was a gym in the UK, boxing gym, and he had to close up shop, and this is hopefully going to give him some money to open it back up. So I'm kind of rooting for Good John, but I think Palomino wins, and then obviously I pick Diaz, and I'll pick Segala. But yeah, thanks for listening. This is the 5th episode, Reg in the Zoo Podcast Network, number 23. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more on Blue Mafia when the Bills are coming down the pipe here. Final Four in the NBA, we'll probably wrap that soon. That's why we're transitioning over to football. And again, thanks for listening to the beginning and the Tryin Times portion. But if you don't like that stuff, feel free to, I don't give a shit, fast forward through it. We got the chapter markers in the video. Let me know what you like. Let me know any feedback is good feedback from me. So please, guys, gals out there, if you have any feedback for me, if you have any ideas, let me know. Thanks a lot for listening. I really appreciate it. BKFC tonight. Obviously getting down to the Final Four in the NBA. NFL coming down the pipe. And final shout out to the Big Four, the Power Four, J-Rock, Nolder, Player K, and Jael Rivera Illustrate. And that's the Power Four. Thanks. We're out.